Is this too tight? Too tight. Hello. Welcome to this space on YouTube where I talk about comics slowly, awkwardly, stuttering, mumbling. I'm working on it, everybody. You know, when you hear about the guy that took an acting class so that he could work on his public speaking skills, so he could talk to his in laws or meet a woman or whatever? That's me with YouTube. I am goddamn terrible at speaking. It's proven to be very frustrating. And I hope that someday when I'm more coherent, that you can say I was there from the beginning. I was one of the first 100 people that subscribed to this Rambling Idiots channel. So today I want to talk about something that would have proved controversial a couple years ago, and I hope is no longer. We go through periods of really caring about some things and then suddenly not, and that's just the nature of being a human being, I suppose. But the thing I wanted to explore was maybe a post-mortem of some type on Ta-Nehisi Coates' career in comics. Now, I say this is controversial because when he was first hired, I guess what was perceived as his politics, and I guess they are his politics. I don't know how to describe them. Just his worldview was uh, an affront to comics readers who kind of didn't want what they assumed would be shoved down their throats. I didn't feel that strongly about that part of it. I don't really care about Ta-Nehisi. Ta-Nehisi, pardon me. I didn't mean to disrespect him. I think it's Ta-Nehisi. I did not care in any real way about this man's politics. It could have made the book more interesting, honestly. But what I care about an awful lot, and I understand is not nearly as exciting as talking about politics for some people, is that this man is not a comic book writer. He was in no way credentialed to do a thing that typically takes years to get good at and decades to master. And I don't consider whatever, I think he was on Black Panther and maybe Captain America for a time. I don't remember. I remember reading his Black Panther and it's piss boring. A different perspective, a different worldview, a different set of politics could have made those books really interesting. But they didn't because he's not a comic book writer. And it was an absurd idea to think that you could just make him one. The man is a very talented essayist. I think everybody agrees on that, even people that really quite hate him. I don't think take away from his talents there. But what's that got to do with shit? It's like this across the board. I'm a musician, I'm bad at it. If somebody said, this sucks that this guy's bad at this and he continues to do it, I would shrug and say, yeah, it's totally bizarre that people pay me for this. If I was merely handsome and had no real passion for a thing, entered music and got gigs or what have you, I would understand real resentment towards me. I couldn't shrug it off. I would have to say, yeah, it's now that you mention it, it's pretty fucked up. it's pretty fucked up that I was ever given a platform, considering that I don't even really give a shit. I just looked like the right guy for the job, I guess. And same thing in I have some friends who are actors. When they've got to be alongside somebody who's a model, a rapper, it feels to them as though the people that cast those individuals have no respect for what they do, no respect for a craft, no respect for the thing that you're supposed to be doing here. And that's, I guess, what has me fucked up about Ta-Nehisi Coates for years now is this man never wrote a comic before this and has not written a comic since. I need to underline that part. Why the fuck are we hiring people who don't write comics? And I mean that holistically. Didn't write comics before, likely never going to write another fucking comic book. Why would we ever hire the least passionate, least stakeholding, least involved individuals to do an art that you have to care about and a craft that you have to invest yourself in and commit years to? And notice it's always a writer. Nobody ever hires a non-comic artist to to draw comics. It just doesn't happen. You never say, "You're a pretty good essayist, Ta-Nehisi Coates. Why don't you draw a comic?" But these are the same fucking things. It's the same concept. Look, if you like my comics, that's awesome. I appreciate you. If you think they're trash, that's your prerogative. But you could never say, "Oh, this motherfucker isn't putting in the work." You could never say, "Oh, he didn't try to become great at something," because I most evidently have. And it's not about time in. Some people are very gifted. Some people grab a thing right away. Some people have to put years in merely to be passable. It's not necessarily about time, but there's no reason to presume somebody with zero time, no time whatsoever, would be the man for the job. It's actually fucking crazy. Look, I have a certain level of freedom because a lot of these things happen at Marvel, and I don't give a shit about working at Marvel. So it is. I have some ability to speak on this in a way that some of my peers do not. We all feel this way. There's literally nobody in comics who has broken their ass, making zero money, trying to become great, trying to contribute to an art form that they love, who doesn't think that the editor who hires a fucking actor over them, or an essayist, or a playwright at least is in the right ballpark, or a fucking wrestler. Nobody that really writes comics thinks that the editor that hired those people knows what the fuck they are doing. And that should be an issue for you if you are an editor. Apparently it's not for many, but it should be an issue when you are exclusively a gate. That's it. You're a gate that opens and closes to these people. You're not a respected colleague or a mentor, somebody that could help them hone their craft. You are simply the troll under the bridge that stops their passing onto a new stage of their career. And they have to appease you in some way. They have to answer your riddle so they can get to the next stop in their journey. I don't necessarily expect readers to have strong feelings on this, right? For many of them, particularly if we're talking about big two work, which we are right now, it's the characters that matter to many of them. Some of them just want decent stewards of these characters, not necessarily somebody that's going to put their fingerprint all over it. That's fine. But Christ on high, the idea that editors, somebody who is supposed to be knowledgeable in this field, there's supposed to be somebody that you could go to and seek wisdom. The idea that that person would hire a fucking wrestler over a skilled creator is absurd. And without calling for revolution here, without trying to demean editors unnecessarily here, I just want to suggest to the creators who put up with this nonsense, who have personal and professional relationships with these editors, but never say shit about the fact that jobs were denied from a real creator, someone who loves this form and has devoted their life to it, and instead given to, I don't know, fucking somebody who writes on the show Charmed from 12 years ago. It's fucking insane. Like, yo, take this for what it's worth. You don't need my respect. I don't crave yours. But fuck, man. I have more respect for the boob who stumbles into a fun opportunity. Like, I don't read The Atlantic. If The Atlantic came to me and said, "Do you want to write an essay?" I'd say, sure. And just as Ta-Nehisi Coates was offered a job by Marvel and said, sure. I don't blame somebody for taking an opportunity presented to them. But I don't respect the person who makes the offer. The person who says, yeah, listen, you fucking hack with no experience. I believe you probably have a vision for this thing that you've never expressed an interest in. Why don't we put you in a position to make decisions for it? That's fucking crazy. And it's time that we called this out and said, hey, what are you doing? Like, some of you talk to your editors with some regularity and you consider them friends. Get on the phone. When you see that they've just hired, I was just about to date myself with a Big John Studd reference. We're gonna keep with it. When you see that they hired Big John Studd from the WWF, you say, wait, why? Wait a second. He's writing the Hulk comic because he's also big? That's the fucking reason that we gave this man a fucking job? Which, by the way, does not sound so far-fetched now that I'm saying it out loud. We're doing this thing at some of the publishers where, oh, hey, you played this character in a show? Clearly that makes you a writer. And clearly it makes you capable and credentialed and really the heir apparent to writing this highly specific type of storytelling that has overlap with screenwriting, that has some elements of prose, but is entirely its own fucking thing. And you could never grab somebody off the street and expect them to write a good comic book. I know sometimes these people fucking try, but this is my point. It's absurd. And Ta-Nehisi Coates, God bless him. As I said, I got no fucking problem with that man, his writing outside of comics, etc. But what a fucking joke, man. The idea that we didn't check that and go, wait a second. The guy says he likes comics, so you gave him a job? Well, it's like somebody saying, I like movies, I'm a plumber. You know what, brother? You got it. You got the job. It's fucking insane. And all the stuff about his viewpoints and the race conversation that was going on in comics at that time, it's all very much beside the point. It's just, let's focus on the fact that this motherfucker was never made to write comics. And we know that because he never tried until he was hired by the biggest company that makes comics. It's fucking crazy. And this applies to anybody. Oh, you wrote a YA novel? Oh, yeah. That's the same as writing comics. No, it's fucking not. And editors know that. That's why this whole thing is a fucking farce. It's clear to anybody who has actually had to proof a comic, actually had to get in there and see why it works, understand what's under the hood. And it's not just sequential storytelling. It's periodical comics, which are a whole nother level of skill. It's a whole other thing that you're doing there if you're doing them correctly. So if you knew this, as editors do, why would you think that any boob, even a very talented boob in another field, could write comics? Here's my challenge. I want you to the editors that hired Ta-Nehisi Coates, I want you to rehire him and make him a letterer. Oh, wait, why not? Well, I don't understand. Why not? Oh, because you understand it's a fucking skill? You understand that it takes years to be on the level that you would ever hire that person when you're at a major fucking publisher? Let's make him an inker. That's an underappreciated art form. Wait, why not? What? But he writes such nice essays. Do you see the point? So stupid, man. And so many of you are so afraid of not getting jobs that you won't just say the obvious thing. You're gonna have to outlast some of these editorial regimes. That's just what it is. You don't want to work a place that doesn't respect you. Or maybe you do. Maybe you're an asshole. When somebody demonstrates that, they don't care about this thing that we're doing, why would you go fucking work for them? Just put your foot down and say, nah, man, I'm gonna wait till whatever this moment is uh, kind of blows over because I don't think that I'm gonna be able to do good work in this environment anyway. So fuck it. They're hiring wrestlers. That's it. Everybody in comics feels this way. Every fucking writer, literally every fucking writer. I don't. If they can deny it. Even the biggest disingenuous scumbags in the game, who are always big upping something without ever having read it, just in the hope of any type of compensation from the person whose ass they're kissing. Even that person will not say, "Good job, John Cena. You wrote a kick-ass comic book. Good job, CM Punk," because it's fucking absurd. And everybody in this field knows it. And it's so nuts that they just all like, oh, I'm just going to look the other way because I need that fucking $80 or whatever. Yo, just if we're going to care about what we do, then sometimes you actually got to fucking care. And that comes with some level of, hey, editor, you're my friend, but what are you fucking doing? Give it a try. If you lose your job, maybe that job's not that lit.